The Air India crash was one of the worst plane crashes in history. 260 people lost their lives after an Air India flight from Ahmedabad to London crashed into a medical college and blew up. All passengers except one were killed and some doctor interns also lost their lives. However, the black box was recovered and all eyes were on the report by investigators. People demanded answers. There were speculations, Boeing whistleblower reports and statements came back in news, and other issues with the airline and the aircraft manufacturer came up. But the preliminary report was published last week. The probe was led by India's aviation ministry with inputs from US Aviation Authority, former pilots and Boeing. In the final pages of the reports, there was a problem. So here's what happened. At 1:26 p.m., the plane was cleared to taxi from Ahmedabad airport. At 1:38 p.m., the aircraft lifted off and in seconds it reached its peak speed. And then both fuel switches were turned off. This is what the report said. As per the black box recording, one pilot asked the other why did he cut off the fuel to the engines. The other one replied that he did not do so. And as they spoke, the plane was losing lift and in 13 seconds of takeoff, the fuel switch was turned on back again. First engine switch was turned on and then the second switch was also turned on. But one engine recovered and the other did not. So after 11 seconds of that, the flight recorder stopped. So this was the preliminary report. It says that the fuel cut-off switches were turned off and this was the problem. Now there are two engine switches and if it is turned on, the engines get fuel and this switch is well protected. It has a lock mechanism. One must lift and then toggle it to cut off or start the fuel supply to the engines. So the report is not blaming anyone as yet, but it leaves you with questions. Who or what cut off the fuel to the engines? And the report from Wall Street says that the pilot or the captain cut off the switch without any proof, which raised speculations and people started blaming the captain. The preliminary report, though, does not say who said what. India's Pilot Association is not very happy with this report. They say that it's a bias towards pilot error and the people are also calling this report vague. And the problem is questions are still unanswered. The cockpit conversation is very incomplete and just a short conversation was published in this report. A transcript is what the world is wanting now. Another confusion is the mention of 2018 fuel switch advisory in the report, which was meant for 737 plane of Boeing, and the same system is used in the plane that crashed. The advisory said that it was a potential for disarrangement of fuel control switch locking feature in these planes. It was not a mandatory call to get the systems checked, so Air India did not get it checked. It was just an advisory, but this confuses people. Now there are theories like the fuel switch turned off by itself. The question is still unanswered and the report is only giving more room to speculations. And now the AAIB has cautioned against selective and unverified reporting by sections of international media. It said that the purpose of a preliminary report was to provide information on what happened and said that it is too early to reach any definite conclusions. The investigation is not yet complete. So to the investigators, give us clarity on what actually happened. Don't leave us thinking whether or not this happened or that happened. And to viewers, keep calm and don't jump to conclusions. The final report will give better clarity on what happened. Anything released by a third-party organization without mentioning any sources may not be right. It is a sensitive issue and responsible coverage and reporting is what is needed, and that's what we will give you.
If you like this video, then like, share and subscribe to ET Now.